welcome to Quirky Queen's Journals. My name's Kirsten. So I've been hard at work transforming these labels into these beautiful pieces of art. The idea started as doing them to make little bits and pieces for junk journals, and it just took over. Everything I do takes over. So this is some of I've made this out of little dictionary book pages, just little pockets. And these are really just as examples to show you them. And here I've just stuck a couple down onto, kind of over embellished these ones, to be honest. Stuck it down onto brown paper. Anyway, thought I'd show you some of them. And I have lots and lots of, so I actually tried masking tape as well, but it didn't pick up as well as I thought it would. And so you have to unroll it, stick it on book pages, you know, and then peel it off and stick it down again. So it was a bit fiddly. The return for the amount of effort was not worth it. However, it did give some nice edges on some of the book pages, which was good. I've also got some nice wee pick-up points as well, you know, where I've had a corner uncovered. I've got a couple of sheets here, and then this is just, there was one, and it's not on camera. It was supposed to be on camera. I went a little bit crazy with the amount of paint I put out, and I had to take a lot of it back off. So these are all just, you see, this is like, it was over the poppy seed stencil and Froyle's big script poem stencil. So I have a lot. I don't just have labels, I've got a lot of bits and pieces that go with it, and I've obviously got the masking tape as well. So, taking these all back off so we can get back to the star of the show, which is the labels. That's us. So a lot of the labels, some of them were plainer, because if there was stuff left on the plate, you know, like part of the stencil artwork was left on the gel plate, then I would go over with the bronze or whatever and pick some up, and I've just used some sprays after. Some of them were just perfect with one pull. So this is, you know, a few different types of stencils on there, and I wouldn't do anything else to them. This one's got a bit of white at the top, but I think, do you know what this makes me think of? And it's the way that melted Morocco stencil works. It makes me, it's got a Paradise Island feel to it. It's like a sunset, the white sands, the water with the bits of white streaked through it. And then these are like palm fronds. Then you've got your holiday writing. Again, that's just a simpler one. This one, I did this, actually, this wasn't on the gel plate initially. So this is, I've stenciled directly on here, roses and leaves. I've used some spray. I love this, how this turned out. This is straight off the plate. This is just sunflower stencil, straight off the plate. And it looks amazing. Imagine getting a wee parcel or something, or an envelope with that on it. It's really nice. So anyway, that's my little introduction to today. One very important thing I forgot to mention was this video was inspired by Artie Mays. I seen her making labels to put onto, you know, journal cards, pockets, etc. For junk journals, and that's what inspired this idea. Now she does a lot of grunging up of her junk journal items, but she still manages to keep them looking very vintage and pretty. And it's a style I really like. And when I first discovered junk journals, she was my first proper channel that I watched and I learned from and I spent time with. So she inspired this video, and I should have mentioned it nearer the start. So what we're doing is I have put down Naples Yellow Deep, Pale Olive Green and Titanium Buff on top of stencils from PM Artist Studios, which are Poppy Seed Duo, Wonky Net, Melty Morocco and Froil Arts Dream Big Poem Script. Now, I've also done this. I've took the Art Whisperer approach by putting the stencils on the gel plate before I put the paint down, because this started out as I wanted to make black outlines. So the idea was to put down the colour and then add black over the top to fill in the gaps. And then the labels kind of took over. So I left this for about 15 or 20 minutes to dry before putting on the black paint. Because the stencils were quite intricate, I did put on quite a thick layer so that all the gaps were filled. And again, over the top, I'm putting on quite a thick layer of the black because there's a thicker layer underneath. So it's a kind of, it has a knock-on effect. And when I put the labels down, they are just address labels that I had. When I first started eBay, I used to handwrite all my addresses, which took a very long time. And I'd bought address labels to write them on. So I have a whole stack of these because I have a printer now to print the labels. Anyway, I'm off at a tangent. These labels do have the kind of shiny coating on them, but they pick up from the gel plate absolutely fine, no problem. And what I do is I just leave them on a bit longer than I normally would because the thickness of the paint that's underneath. But I didn't do anything to these to make them more, for the paint to stay on them. They've just worked absolutely fine for me. It's probably using them on the gel plate with the acrylic paint. So I had to take the opportunity to show you the other side of the gel plates. How fabulous does that look? So the little gel plate, obviously, it dries faster because there's a smaller area. And I just love how these turn out. So obviously there is a lot left on the plate. Like I said, it was thick layers. The labels themselves, they're not absorbent, so they're really going to just take off as much as they can. But that gives me the opportunity to put more paint over the top. You can see there I've put some bronze acrylic paint down. And I'll be able to do more labels. And although these labels will be more of a background label that will need a wee bit more embellishment, it's a good start to making some. There's some I'd made before. So I'm quite excited to use these labels because they're on stickers. You've got ready-made ephemera that is just going to be able to set the mood of, in your junk journal, and it's going to help when you're doing when you're doing mass makes. It means that your focal point, your centrepiece is already established. And most of those labels there will be put away as finished. They're not going to need anything more done to them. Some of them have white space left, or if there's been an area on the gel plate that wasn't very interesting, or the paint has smudged, then I will do more to them. So again, just putting down some bronze to pick up what's left in the plate. You can see the stickers on the left hand side still have white space, so I'll put them back down and I'll find some other stickers to do the same with. I also found, I don't know whether or not these are particularly good stickers or they're all like that, but there was no loss of stickiness. There was no, I mean, I didn't over wet them, but I did spray them. I did use quite a lot of paint on them and they remained absolutely fine. One thing I will say is when I pull the stickers, you know, the strip off, sometimes there will be a label will stick to the jelly plate and I just pull from a different direction, or I use my little pokey tool on the right hand side there just to encourage the label to come up. I also find that if I put them on the gel plate in such a manner that there's an edge hanging over the side or overlapping another set of labels, it's much easier to pull off as well. I think you do see it here. You can see that one's starting to stick a little bit, and I think I go to the other side. They do come off very easily. They might remove easily because they already have a coating on them, or because there's such thick layers of paint on the gel plate. And the other thing is, as well, as I did put baby oil on the gel plates before I started, and that always helps things be less likely to stick. So I'm just showing you quickly all the labels that I've made today. There's over 100. There's about 100 and maybe not 120, but there's somewhere between 100 and 120. Sunflowers one I love. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look through all the stickers and then I'm going to decide which ones are finished and can be put away to be used and which ones need a bit more work. So I just show you a snippet of that just now. So you can see there, that one there has a fantastic design, but there is some white space. So I'm putting that in my special sticker that's to be worked pile. Then these two at the top are just going to be in the need more work pile. And then the two that I'm cutting off just now are going in the finished pile. And that's what I do. I just go through them all. Give them a wee bend. I think all of these end up in, oh no, the top three I think end up in the needing some work done. Oh no, just the top one. Some of them are absolutely lovely. I mean, look at those poppies. So my plan for tomorrow is to actually use these stickers to make some ephemera, and I'm really quite excited to do it because it's been a long time since I've just sat and made some bits and pieces, and not most times lately I've just been making full pictures, so that's the next job with them. So these are taken from the pile that need more work, and I'm just using a couple of the stencils, that is Big Lattice and Melty Morocco, to add some more interest to them and make them more of a finished piece. And then I'm turning the stencils over so that I can use what's on the top as well. And I'll also, that's wallpaper lining paper that I'm doing this on top of. And I'll use that as well tomorrow because it's got all the shapes and the colours that we've used today on it. It's even got the size of the stickers on it in places. So that's them after being sprayed. Now for this set, I am stamping with, you know, the kind of italic writing script that's not readable. I'm just stamping with some black ink on top of the ones that were just sprayed. It just makes them more complete, and also, while these may not be full focal points, they're still going to be really good at supporting a focal point on like a journal card or a tag or an envelope or whatever I decide to use them for. I did think to myself, I could use these on my parcels that I send out. So this is turquoise green acrylic paint, and I am just applying that onto these ones through the stencil. Now, I'm using a watercolour brush. I don't know why I picked up a watercolour brush. I generally use a stiff hog hair brush for painting acrylic paint through the stencils, because I find that it fills in the gaps more thoroughly, and it's also quite quick to use. This watercolour brush, it was hard work. And also, I found that it was, you didn't get a consistent layer of paint with it, that the paint is thicker in some areas than others. I just find it easier to use the stiffer brush with the stencils. So this sunflower stencil I have used in a previous video, and it's designed by Kirsten Hartman, who has a channel on YouTube, and it's available to purchase from PM Artist Studios. And I do think it's a great stencil. I don't know why I decided to do it straight onto the labels instead of on the gel plate. I think I just wanted the variety. So I treat these labels as finished now, because I do think that the sunflower stencil is quite a strong feature, and it does help them become more of a focal point sticker. So they go away as finished. Next, I use a foam stamp, which is probably similar to using a stencil, but you put it on like a stamp. It's called Art Deco Circles. Oh, I lied. I sprayed them with some Lindy's mica spray, which is just a shimmer spray, and it was in sepia colour. So these are the ones I'm stamping, and I'm using Distress Oxide and a green, something broken bark or sticks or something. I use Distress Oxide in green, Vintage Photo Distress Oxide, and the one that I'm using just now is it's like an orangey brown. It's a very lovely colour, and I bought it very cheap in the range. And then I use black as well. So what I'm trying to do is, by using different colours of the ink to make the same shape, I'm just trying to add depth and variety, but still keep it cohesive. And so what I do is I use the black a bit more sparingly, and I don't use it in all of them. So this set of stencils as well, if you think about it, because I've used a lot of the same stencils throughout and colours, etc., then, you know, you could have stickers that look completely different, but actually they do have some relationship to each other. So you could be using them on the same piece and it wouldn't look out of place. So in the next video we will use these, and I'm very excited to do so because I just think these are fabulous, and they were pretty easy to make as well. So, oh, more Lundy's mica spray on top. It is a nice green, and see, because I'd used other greens through the Distress Oxide stamping ink and the turquoise green, etc. I stayed with the theme of green. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye.